I just thought I'd quickly jump on and talk a bit about how to ride the waves of intensity. And I'm sure that you are feeling the energetic intensity of the current times right now. If you've been following my timeline, my story, you'll know that I'm going through a very intense life process. And I have to say, I feel super appreciative to have had so much spiritual training, transformational training, shamanic training, trauma healing training, to be able to ride the waves of intensity. And they have been very strong for me. And so I thought I would just jump on and share some of my top tips on how to ride that wave. Because we are in a period of metamorphosis, and if you didn't know what was happening, I sent an e-shot about this via the source database. If you're on that, you might have seen it. If you were a caterpillar going into the cocoon and about to turn into a butterfly and you didn't understand the process, you could quite easily go into meltdown and panic over what was happening to you. But obviously, if you understand the process you're going through, then you can just kind of trust, surrender, and accept it, knowing that everything is in a state of transformation and you're going to emerge as a butterfly. But if you didn't know that, it could easily feel like a death, right? Trust and surrender have to be the key words for this current time. In trauma healing training, you get to really understand about the value and the importance of resources. So just going to talk about some of the top resources that will really help you. So number one top resource for when you are feeling things very strongly is very simply the breath. Now, if you breathe in through the nose and slowly out over the bottom lip like this, and if you do that 3 times, it's a super powerful way to calm the nervous system. And it's especially effective if you can't sleep at night and you're in a bit of a kind of having a dark night of the soul and you're feeling a lot of anxiety and you're thinking. Just doing 3 of those breaths in through the nose, just blowing slowly out through the bottom lip in a very long out breath. Just any time you can use the breath to completely transform your state. Just that returning to the breath, I mean, it's the basis of meditation, just noticing the in-breath, noticing the out-breath, noticing the in-breath, noticing the out-breath. This is a Thich Nhat Hanh recommendation. This is the simplest form of meditation, just returning to the breath and noticing the in and the out-breaths is incredibly calming. So the breath is the number 1 resource. Number 2 resource, so this is basic feng shui, and feng shui is wind and water. So the second one is water. We are normally very dehydrated, so just drinking a glass of water like a medicine, just thinking of water as a medicine, not necessarily as a sort of enjoyable drink to sip, but just drinking it like a medicine. Just fully feeling that the deliciousness of that in your body. I can feel the coolness of that in my stomach and just kind of like a sponge absorbing it throughout my body. Water is the second great asset. And of course, other forms of water, just simple water therapy, like having a wonderful bath is very soothing for the pain body, especially if you put Himalayan salts in it. Just paddling in the river, sometimes I just go and paddle in the river in Bakewell, which just has this very calming energy. So water is another great ally. And talking about going to the river, just being in nature is a huge resource, very calming. And so sometimes what I do is I just go and sky bathe. I just literally put down a blanket or a sheet or something, and I just lie on the earth, in the shade actually, and sky bathe. And if it's a cool day to, cover myself with a blanket to keep warm, and just literally just let the earth hold me, and just look at the sky, the blue sky. Your energy goes to the Schumann resonance, which is the frequency of the earth, and it's just naturally very calming. And so, of course, walking by the sea, walking in the forest, walking bare feet on the grass, lying on the earth, all of these things are amazing ways to just come into that nature resonance, which is naturally very healing and very calming. And one great way to do that, if you're sleeping, is another top tip. This is a shamanic top tip. It's just to hold a stone, just a normal plain stone. I wouldn't recommend holding a crystal, actually, because crystals are too sort of high vibration and activating. So a kind of common or garden pebble. Now this is a quia. They're called shamanically quias. This is a rock picked up from the mountain at Apu Azangate in Peru, and I keep it by my bed. So what I do is I just in my left hand, I just hold it. And you can just really feel any tense energy, just the stone just really absorbs it. Now, one other thing you can do is call in the mountains. So you just do that just by breathing on the mountain, like 3, just like it's like a soft breath, putting your energy in, like calling into the mountain. Now that may sound ridiculous, but I promise you, I've done that in medicine work in ayahuasca. Boom, you go straight to the mountain and you call in the spirit of the mountain. And mountains have tremendous strength, obviously. So if you need a strong energy, a strong, powerful energy to earth you and ground you and help you, like, please just help me be strong. Calling in the mountain is a really good thing to do. I'm going to be back in 1 second. I just need to switch my Alexa timer off. Hold on. Hey, there we go. Sorry about that. Yes, I'm just cooking a vegetarian pasta bake, so I just had to take the lid off it and melt them and brown the cheese, the mozzarella. Which kind of brings me on to my next thing, which is nourishment. So just really resourcing yourself through really good, nutritious food, nourishment, as early as you can in the day. Just lifting your energy through lots of green things, salads, avocados, vegetarian food, high vibrational food, juicing, all of those things. I mean, I know it's really obvious, but it's very easy, especially if you're feeling kind of depressed, to forget to eat. The other form of nourishment is, of course, spiritual nourishment. I forget which I Ching hexagram nourishment is. I should know this one. Richard Ashworth might be able to tell us. But nourishment is it's like the jaws. So it's not just nourishment. It's not just about the food that we eat and absorb, but also the spiritual nourishment. So whether it's YouTube videos, reading books, just nourishing yourself through spiritual teachings, through just deepening your knowledge. If you look on the source.tv website or Twitter stream, source.tv, if you look at that timeline, there's some quite nourishing videos. I tend to post things on there. If there's some interesting content, I tend to put it on the Source Twitter stream. So just going on the source.tv Twitter stream, or you can find that on www.source.tv. Some beautiful, amazing videos on there, and resources to really help you with that spiritual nourishment. Okay, and so of course another huge resource when you're going through challenging times is, of course, people. And I'm so lucky to have some amazing therapists who have supported me for many years now. So Juliet Yelverton, want to give a big shout out to Juliet Yelverton, who is my trauma healing trainer. Also Sue Pelham is an amazing therapist who's also on my advanced trauma healing group, the White Tara Mandala, as we call it. And yeah, so I'm also part of various support groups. So I have my own Inner Circle mentoring group, which is an amazing group of 6 women. There's the White Tara Mandala, which is 8 of us, and we are on an advanced trauma healing journey, which is all about really fully feeling what's coming up for us and exploring that. I'm also on Sandy Humby's Rose Heart Inner Mastery group, which is 22 women, so lots of female groups. And it just really helps to have support groups, just to be able to share and to discuss things, as well as therapy. Fully feeling is fully healing. And so stopping the busyness and really having that stillness in your life to be able to just sit and just be with what's coming up and fully feeling that. And by fully feeling, I mean fully feeling it in your body. Fully feeling is fully healing. And fully feeling is also very painful. We don't like to fully feel. And so it's very easy to get busy and to deny it and to get to do things like blotting it out through addictions and trying to numb it somehow. So really, really allowing what's coming up and really just marinating it and just exploring it. Okay, I'm feeling fear, or I'm feeling anger, or I'm feeling grief, or I'm feeling sadness, or whatever the feeling might be. Very powerful. Fully feeling is fully healing. And I just touched on addictions there. And of course, there are some resources which are kind of a little bit naughty. I mean, I have my cup of tea here. This is so a bit of caffeine. Cups of tea are just a wonderful resource for me. I think there's lots of anchors in cups of tea with my father. He used to bring me lots of cups of tea when I was young. So something very soothing about a cup of tea, even though it's got caffeine in it. And of course, there are some times when you do just need to kind of zone out and resource yourself through, I don't know, a glass of wine or a glass of beer or something. Fully allowing resources is actually very important, because it's very easy to get to a place where you beat yourself up. Just really recognizing that, okay, I give myself permission to have a glass of wine. I just really need to take the edge off this feeling right now, and just allowing it rather than beating yourself up and adding guilt on top of things. So fully allowing, if you do need to kind of go for resources which are just to take the edge off the intensity, just fully allow that and just trust. And the last thing that I really want to leave you with is the power of prayer. It's very easy to get caught up in the illusion of this gritty reality, this painful reality. But when you really zoom back from that and remember that this is just an illusion, it's just a training program in love, and the further you are into your journey, your spiritual journey, and the more you're bringing your feelings back online, the more you're fully feeling, the more you unfreeze your trauma, and the more you fully feel, the greater the intensity of what you can feel. And so actually the challenges get even bigger. Prayer is a wonderful way to just raise the vibration so that you can be in a kind of condor's eye view of the situation, and you can get to that place of gratitude. Thank you, annoying person, for showing me all of my anger. Thank you, external situation, for showing me all of the fear that I haven't fully felt yet. So seeing this game of life as a training program in love, and to truly love, to truly open our heart, we have to start bringing back online all of those places that we closed off, particularly when we were little and it was too painful to fully feel. So a lot of us are holding a lot of frozen trauma, and so we're getting back in touch with that. If you just look at what's going on with all of the rioting and all of the protesting, the lid is being taken off a lot of anger that's been held for a long time. So getting in touch with our anger and fully feeling that and working through it. And the thing about anger, it's very easy to get just into that cathartic wanting to express anger and just get angry. But actually, when you sit with anger and you fully feel it, you can get to the layers that lie beneath anger. And they are things like grief, unexpressed grief. They are things like our deepest fears and insecurities, and also things like shame, deep shame. So really sitting with these intense feelings and really allowing them and exploring them and investigating, what's underneath this? What is really upsetting me? What's really making me angry? What am I frightened of? What am I ashamed of? What am I holding guilt around? And that also may be, if you think about the people that you hate most, or the most difficult people in your life right now, quite often, and Dean Marston was a real key to helping me realize this, quite often the people that we loathe most in the world or in our life, it might be in our family, it might be on the world stage, quite often they are versions of ourselves before we were enlightened that we feel shame around. So if we're dealing with a particularly sort of unconscious person, it may be that we are seeing in that person a mirror of ourselves, or the version of ourselves before we had the spiritual awareness, before we woke up. We might be dealing with someone who's a very sort of capitalist version. I mean, I have sort of struggles with extremely capitalist people. And then I just realized, oh my God, that is just me being ashamed of the capitalist version of myself that I used to be before I knew better. So really getting interested in who and what is triggering us and what lies beneath that trigger, and to really go deep. Is that trigger to do with some childhood trauma that we haven't yet healed? Or is that trigger to do with some shame that we're holding around ourselves? So this deep, compassionate inquiry, as Dr. Gabor Mate calls it, is very powerful in allowing us to really explore what is going on for us. And the more that we fully feel, the more that we fully heal, the more that we increase our window of tolerance, the more we're able to cope no matter what life throws at us. And so we broaden that kind of comfort zone, that window of tolerance. And so we're able to really ride the wave of life much more successfully. And of course, the more we do the inner work, the more our externals start to transform. Because in truth, if you want to change the world, change yourself. Whatever you feel you want to fix and change and alter on the screen of your life, feed it back in. Where is that in me? Where is that resonance in me? How am I manifesting this? And what do I need to shift in me? How can I fully feel and fully heal and transmute and alchemize this inner trigger so that I can collapse it on the outside? So deeply profound transformational work. Anyway, sending you lots of love, and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.